I've got notes. Here we go. As you can see, I'm pretty amped up on copious amounts of coffee, and I'm continuing that for the rest of the day. Thanks for tuning in the past week or so. My viewership has clearly skyrocketed. I went from 0 viewers when I started to at least, I did like 150 in 4 or 5 days. So what's the calculations on that? Some kind of like 150,000% improvement on viewership. So I'm doing well. And thank you. What did I listen to this weekend? I always listen on Sundays to, it's like kind of been a tradition for a while for me. I listen to Chet Baker, usually with Bill Evans, and I get into the I don't know, what would you describe it as? Like, well, I like his bossa nova stuff, but I'm not a huge fan of his singing, but I'm into the horn. And obviously Bill Evans on piano, excuse me, for all you music people out there. After Chet Baker, I bumped into something, as Spotify would do. They take you on a little course once you run through your playlist. I heard this artist, I'm going to call it an artist, Blossom Dearie, Blossom Dearie. If you're ever in the mood for some really weird French music, like a French cafe in Paris in 1959, Blossom Dearie is where you want to go. On the Spotify tip, I don't know if anybody of you have heard of the controversy right now where Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and now Nils Lofgren want their music off, or have had their music removed from Spotify because Joe Rogan is on Spotify and he has pontificated on, or he's opined about the COVID vaccine and all that stuff, and ivermectin and things of that nature. I don't know if I get flagged for saying ivermectin, but anyway, I think it's kind of nuts that they can go that route and start. I mean, if you want to protest, and you want your stuff taken off and say why or whatever, then I guess that's fine. But good old Neil or even Joni don't have any problems being on the same platform as domestic abuse perpetrators, drug dealers, probably a couple of murderers. I'm sure Phil Spector is probably still on Spotify. Anyway, where do you draw the line? I know this is current and an in-style thing to do right now, but I mean, I think it's kind of, it's anti-free speech, if anything, in a lot of ways. And I give a crap about it. I think maybe it might be more about the fact that Joe Rogan is getting paid $100 million from Spotify, and that probably bugs them. I'm going to spend a brief moment talking about something that I discussed with a friend of mine. A lot of what I'll do here is probably based off of that type of thing, where I'll sort of bring like a conversation that I've had during the week to this conversation. And this one was about A teams and B teams and C teams. This is something that I've thrown around in my head for a while. For instance, in relation to music acts, a lot of times people ask me like, why is such and such or so-and-so's music now garbage compared to their first and second album? And it kind of tends to happen that the second album usually, the debut is fantastic, the second album might be the peak, and then after that, things kind of fall off. And why would that be? In my opinion, from what I've seen, usually a great record or a great product is, I'm running, okay, is a result of a great team being put together. And even if that's with a solo artist. Unfortunately, unless the budget, it's like even like a sports team. I mean, it's the reason why the project takes off or is built on at a high level is because of the people that are involved. And as that evolves, those fantastic people that are in the crew will eventually leave and go their own way, because that's just what top level people do. They can no longer be part of a team because they're ready to go their own way and start something on their own, and be in charge, because that tends to be the case with when you have good quality performers or contributors to your project. They're going to move on unless there's more movement for them to go upward within the project. It's tricky. It never seems to work out. And then I'll probably open the door to another area of this. What happens also is that after some success, the artist or someone within the project will say, you know, we could get away with out using so-and-so to do this job, because, you know, I've learned how to use the computer and I've learned how to do this editing, or my cousin is an up-and-coming producer, beat maker or whatever, and he can start making the beats instead of us paying someone who's getting a high fee for the beats. So then things start getting watered down. For instance, an engineer leaves a project and then his assistant or her assistant becomes the next in line. Now, that doesn't always work.